worked into the mix to steal some additional turns. Pretty good.
And across the table, we've got Jeremy Castro, a player who has had some reasonable finishes at a few tournaments, a couple years ago, is now making a very deep run, potentially with this Gardevoir, and is looking to put himself on the map right now in Sacramento, especially playing against a player like Alex. If you can take a big win here, Gardevoir versus Urshifu, then it's going to really cement yourself as a name to pay attention to for the rest of our audience.
Yeah, it was a Reggie gamer and has a few top 64 finishes over a few of those regional championships, along with 2 years ago at NEIC in Columbus. And now maybe trying to get the job done with half a Gardevoir deck. Uh-oh, you need those.
Yeah, the Ralts is not what you want to see in the prize cards. This opens up a massive weakness for Alex Krekeler to get that early G-Max Rapid Flow, take down the Ralts of the Kirlia before they have a chance to, evolve. And if Jeremy doesn't immediately respond with the Rod to put those back to get the Kirlias, your strategy is completely dismantled before it gets off of the ground.
Yep. Important to note, there is the Mirage Step Kirlia to be looking forward to for Jeremy, so hopefully can line that up before he loses his board.
It is, the Tor Reklev special at this point. He's a player that so consistently sets up the Mirage Step that it seems to be a core part of Gardevoir's strategy, but no other Gardevoir player really weaves it in as well as Tor does. So we'll see if Jeremy has studied the master enough and can hang on in this matchup. Alex Krekeler starts off with Urshifu V in the active spot, Jeremy kicking us off with Radiant Greninja in the active spot, and a Battle VIP pass.
I'd say the studies worked out. Found the Battle VIP pass. It's looking very Tord-esque here as we start things off with that Radiant Greninja, and looks like a few energies as well. So not only going to find some basic Pokemon, but also has access to a little more draw.
Taking account of the prizes now, is going to immediately realize those Ralts are prized. And when we compare, just this Gardevoir list, it seems pretty standard across the board from what I'm seeing, Kyle. Alex Krekeler, we did see the Echoing Horn in the prizes, which is a card that's a little under contention right now amongst the Rapid Strike players.
Yeah, occasionally it can be the right way to sneak some prize cards out of nowhere. Your opponent could manipulate a board to only have Pokemon with more than 60 hit points remaining, and you can, of course, use a Double Gunner in combination with the Radiant Alakazam and then knock that Pokemon out. And Ralts has 60 hit points. So does Mew.
I guess certainly the idea is just that, if your opponent knows they've got the Echoing Horn, with Collapse Stadium potentially running around, they're going to try to outplay that as much as possible. Jeremy gets the retreat. Mew Mysterious Tail comes into the active spot, looking for an item card, finds another Battle VIP pass. Great. I think we got a glimpse of the Spiritomb.
Yeah, it's maybe not exactly what you want right now, but occasionally it works its way into some matchups to help out.
Yeah, generally Gardevoir likes to rely on its own game plan, but because it has so much card draw, you certainly can work in some tech cards here and there, which I like to see. And now, because two Ralts are prized, figuring out exactly what you want to grab off the VIP pass does become a little bit of a harder decision.
Yeah, I mean, there was... I'm not even sure I like the Cresselia at this point. You're looking at a board state that's going to get pretty cluttered. Obviously, the other Pokemon are in hand. I believe there's the Manaphy there and the other Ralts. But when you're looking at positions to play down and use the Mirage Step, you want to have that bench space open. Looks like Jeremy does identify that and at least says, well, if you end up taking this Mew at some point, I'm going to have some bench space for the Kirlias.
Alex has the Battle VIP pass as well, going to respond with a pretty strong opening of his own, looking at the Remoraid, Teleon V. And this is another list, right, similar to Charizard and Chen Pao, where you're putting down a little Pokemon that needs to evolve in order to get the rest of the engine of your deck online. And the shared weakness is, will this Pokemon get sniped before it can evolve? We'll have to see, especially now with the Cresselia. There's Rare Candy, Gardevoir EX, might be able to pull it off.
This hand is pure gasoline. Everything you need, all the Pokemon ready to roll. Even searching out the Octillery on this opening turn now. And we did see another Inteleon V in the hand too. So having access to both of those is going to be important. It means that you can lead into multiple of the double gunners, and that's how you put pressures on those Ralts and eventual Kirlias.
Yeah, versus a Psychic-type deck, you don't want to lean on the Rapid Strike Urshifu V if you don't need to. It's just going to be a continuous onslaught of double gunner. Wait a minute.
There's the combo. I'm like, why are we grabbing Octillery? It's to throw away the water for the Melanie. That was the supporter for the turn, and this leads to 100 furious blows.
Awesome. Getting that early prize lead is great. Now that the Urshifu V is set up in the active spot, there is the chance for this to evolve, set up G-Max Rapid Flow. And what this does, Kyle, is puts Jeremy in a very specific situation of, do you have the evolution into Gardevoir EX? Are you going to be able to get a big hit to take this down before it's too late? And even if that is the case, Alex Krekeler is already prepping the Inteleon VMAX.
Well, if you're Alex, you're like, are you kidding me?
Yep, has it.
You just had it. You didn't even draw with the Kirlia yet. Sure enough, Rare Candy, Gardevoir, EX down in play. 3 energies could potentially be lined up onto the Cresselia if you want to knock out the Urshifu V. Instead, it's going to be targeting the Remoraid, thinking about a longer strategy here, and maybe this pays off. You don't need to knock out the Urshifu V right now, and if your opponent ever evolves it, that's even more prize cards.
That is a important strategy. Taking down the Remoraid, getting the Octillery out of the equation. It forces Alex Krekeler into an awkward top deck scenario. Okay, are you going to be trying to look for Irida? And that's another card that's slowly been cut from the list, only down to 2 copies, trying to find what is the missing piece here. Already used an Ultra Ball to fish out that Octillery, and now can't even get the evolution. Has to use the second one to find Lumineon. Searching for a supporter now. And
maybe that Spiritomb would have been good.
Yeah.
Sure enough, the hand was not going anywhere without that Octillery. And Lumineon is going to search out the supporter. Iono being featured now. And certainly you have a knockout lined up onto the Cresselia, but afterwards, you're in a lot of trouble right here.
This signals, I think, massively to Jeremy that taking out that Remoraid was the right call, because now Alex Krekeler is really scrambling to keep up pressure. Now that there's Gardevoir EX down, this Rapid Strike Urshifu V is not going to be doing a lot of work, and hopefully off of 5 cards, Alex can get Inteleon VMAX, a couple more energies to start making use of that double gunner like you talked about, Kyle.
The hand not the best or worst, but thankfully has the nest ball there to search out a potential Remoraid, and there it is. As long as you're taking the knockout on the Cresselia, puts your opponent in a spot where it's unlikely that they'll be able to bring this Pokemon back and knock out the Remoraid. It would have to be likely a boss's orders, and by then, is that the best use of your resources? It's hard to tell.
Mm-hmm. But Alex Krekeler does have that Forest Seal Stone, so even after the draw from the Iono, does have Inteleon VMAX guaranteed. Gets the evolution here. Rapid Strike energy is on this Pokemon with a retreat now into the active for G-Max Spiral. This is important because it puts the water Pokemon into the active, so keeps the Urshifu V safe to still threaten that G-Max Rapid Flow.
Also get to hold on to that energy and have that as an attack for the next turn.
And you have to remember as well, folks, Jeremy Castro has 2 routes in the prize cards. So this Kirlia and the Gardevoir EX have to do a lot of heavy lifting from this position.
Yep, inadvertently, just the sheer aggression that we've seen from Alex may have led to a Game 1 victory here, just because Jeremy had to commit. He had to Rare Candy into the Gardevoir. He had to focus on having an answer instead of having a setup. And now it's, if you can work your way through 2 of these Gardevoir, this Gardevoir and then the Kirlia here on the back, you're probably going to win this game. There's not much else.
Gardevoir, when it first hit the scene, it had a reputation for being a little bit more aggressive with the Zacian V, turn 1, Roar of the Sword, just get that set up and start swinging. But now Gardevoir is really set into its ways of kicking back, drawing tons of cards, and then after everything is set up and in position, you start to take prizes. And we'll see if Jeremy is comfortable playing this more aggressive line that Alex seems to have really forced him into.
Wow, look at this.
But still hating on the Remoraid, says, I'm going to keep forcing you over and over again to just top deck the perfect card every turn. Now with no Forest Seal Stone, Alex Krekeler will struggle to put together the necessary pieces.
Boss's Orders is going to be a very important card for Jeremy, as knocking out a Pokemon like this Inteleon VMAX doesn't make a lot of sense. The prize count doesn't make a lot of sense for you. You're going to need that PAL pad to bring back bosses and try to target down both those Urshifu V in the next following turns.
And it seems Alex Krekeler is unstoppable. Has the second Inteleon VMAX into an energy attachment. Professor's research for 7 new cards. And we can just start hitting back with the G-Max Spiral. Puts that energy right back in the hand. And 320 HP. We know that Gardevoir can hit these numbers, but it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting. Needs the Shining Arcana Gardevoir to come out here pretty soon, and there's only 1 refinement and 1 concealed cards to try to find those lines.
There's no way. There's no way. Too many energies there on the Gardevoir EX. Of course, you could retreat 2 of those off and maybe get a little more access, but we're staring at potentially 5 to 6 energies in the discard pile. I think from this point, you really have to focus on trying to find the boss's orders. 3 in the list, no PAL pad, so access to 2 more potentially. Maybe Shining Arcana could help out, but no, just going to go with the slower approach, the Iono.
I think this really helps Alex. He is in a position, because the artillery is not in play, you're going to be digging through the deck anyway, so seeing more cards helps Alex just continue the momentum from here.
Well, yes and no, because not only does Alex see new cards, but we do know now that there's 2 Rapid Strike energies on the bottom of the deck.
Very true.
Attacking
very true.
for Alex could be difficult here.
We have Radiant Alakazam. There's no bench space for the Medicham, so no Yoga Loop threat right now. Jeremy's going for the line you talked about of trying to retreat these energies off to set up for an additional attacker. Trying to hit this Inteleon VMAX.
Those are not great Pokemon, but I guess we'll take them. Cresselia is going to be added. At this point, maybe you can spread enough of these psychic energies, get some relevant damage onto either Pokemon. If you want to target down the Inteleon in the active spot, that might lead to a knockout for your Shining Arcana Gardevoir on the following turn, as it looks like there's not much draw left to be had.
And even though it was looking pretty dire for Jeremy Castro, the fact that he took down the Octilleries means that playing for the long game, as you mentioned, Kyle, could hopefully pay off. Just a little bit of damage on the Inteleon VMAX. And if this 3 prize Pokemon is stranded in the active for too long, Jeremy really roars ahead in this match. Energy Search, amazing, grabs the water energy, and now Alex Krekeler can shuffle, get those Rapid Strike energies weaved into the deck, hopefully further towards the top.
Did see multiple basic energies in the hand, so
already establishing dominance
here.
Yeah, Radiant Alakazam moving damage over to the Manaphy. If something goes down, it opens up that bench spot for Alex Krekeler to get the Medicham. Double Gunner now coming through. And another one. Manaphy just with 10 HP remaining, set up as a Yoga Loop target.
Yeah, this was curious. We see the top deck there of the Spiritomb. I don't think that Pokemon needed to be shuffled in. It's not going to be a great draw to find here.
And it's inefficiencies like that that can really cost you, Kyle, if you're essentially not drawing a card for your turn, something completely dead and useless.
Yeah, there's a world where eventually you could run into a way to open up that bench space, collapse stadium, whatever it may be, or your opponent takes a knockout, and then you're shutting off some other abilities. But in general, I just want to make every draw as efficient as possible from here on out, and you have to be leaning towards just finding energies for the Shining Arcana Gardevoir to take a knockout.
Shining Arcana was just drawn off of concealed cards. Do we have another Candy? If we're able to get that down, it would be such a huge boon for Jeremy Castro to draw some more cards, get some resources. This is a matchup where Jeremy is kind of in the driver's seat, but because of the prized routes, the draw engine was so slow to set up, and Alex has the potential to just really run away with this game.
Just clean and consistent. Moon Glow reversed. Moves 6 more damage to the Inteleon. Try to negate what those energies did on the last turn. Melanie's just going to bring one right back, and these draws are getting pretty important. So we haven't seen very much from Alex's side of the board other than the double gunners. There's one more left in the hand.
Now, I think a Forest Seal Stone was drawn. This is another card that once you've already used it, it just completely is useless for the rest of the game. But after the Melanie and the attach from hand, this does open another G-Max Spiral. Just going to get this Forest Seal Stone out of the hand as well in case there's another Iono. Don't want that shuffled back in. Cresselia goes down. Another prize for Alex Krekeler. And things are coming down to the wire here, Jeremy.
I'm Kyle.
What did I say? Oh, I'm talking about Jeremy Castro.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't worry. Things are coming down to the wild. Jeremy Castro.
Well, we see the boss's orders here, but that might be a little late. Too much has been applied to this active Pokemon. We continually just putting attacks into the Inteleon VMAX.
Oh, Kyle. Oh, my goodness.
And there's not much else you can do. You're just probably going to line up a knockout with the Gardevoir, but you walk right into an issue there with that Manaphy.
I like how Alex has just been able to set the pace for this game. Jeremy has fortunately been able to keep up in terms of drawing cards. Like, look at the size of that hand. Is getting the setup ready to go. And as the game goes longer and longer, it does look like Jeremy is going to be in a better position to close out. But with the Gardevoir EX already damaged, with the Manaphy set up as a Yoga Loop target, I think that it's going to be close, right? Jeremy's either just going to win the game because Alex whiffs his next couple turns of being able to draw the missing pieces to put this together, or Alex Krekeler's going to have, you know, the Metacham Yoga Loop turn to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, there's Iono plays where you can put your opponent in an awkward position. Maybe the knockouts won't be there. I mean, even avoiding a basic energy would be fantastic on Jeremy's side of the board.
And there's
Collapse
the bench of
Stadium.
Zacian V and Collapse Stadium. Alex Krekeler's happy to get rid of the Luminion, and Jeremy Castro is happy to get rid of Manaphy, take away that Yoga Loop target. Fog Crystal also coming through, get another Psychic Energy to the hand. Deck's starting to get pretty thin, and this is when you know you're getting into the late game, Kyle.
Yep. Only 2 more energies required to take the knockout on the active, so don't have to worry about too much damage on the active. It's going to be about which Pokemon you can close out with. Of course, we see that Zacian V, which will be very helpful, and most worried about the Urshifu V with the energy on it, and for good reason. You lost your Manaphy. Access to taking multiple prize cards is now going to be pretty tricky, as we've already seen 2 Melanies played.
And this was part of Alex Krekeler's strategy, having, you know, the threat of the double gunners, but also having the 2 Urshifu V. 2 Melanies have already been spent, so it is going to be difficult to get the Urshifu V max established in one turn.
Here we go. Professor's research looking through. Need at least a Rapid Strike energy to get something rolling this turn.
I see Irida, Octillery, a couple energies is always nice, but
Not seeing it.
it's too far behind at this point. Double Gunner slowly but surely moving this damage around, trying to set up some math, because Alex Krekeler's down to 3 prize cards remaining, right? So now the map looks to be taking out the Kirlia, maybe taking out the Zacian. If you put this damage down ahead of time, it's less energies that can be attached to that Pokemon with Psychic Embrace. But Jeremy, with 2 prize cards remaining, just has to bring up that Urshifu VMAX.
Completely reliant on the hit points there of the Inteleon VMAX.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of energies in play, so understandably could be difficult for Jeremy to find all of the energies to take a knockout with a Pokemon like that Zacian, especially when you preload it with some damage. Means that it won't be able to reach its full potential by way of the Gardevoir charging it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got excited with the gold card. It was just the Lost Vacuum added into the hand.
And Ultra Ball. Jeremy looking through the deck now, thinning out as much as possible.
Boss's orders on the top of the deck.
And there's 1 more Psychic Energy in the deck, so most of the energy is not going to be available to put it on the Pokemon you need. Jeremy's going to be doing some awkward retreats, maybe trying to get this energy into the discard pile just so it can be reattached elsewhere.
4 cards left. Boss's orders still hanging in there. Is there another Shining Arcana Gardevoir to evolve this Kirlia and draw a little more?
Surely it must be. There it is.
50-50 chance. Whew.
It's still in there, Kyle.
Not yet.
And this is a huge saving grace for Alex Krekeler, getting 1 more turn of not having your 3 prize liability bossed up.
Yeah, at this point, what do? You have Iono. You could try to disrupt the hand, but your opponent just attached a basic water energy and passed the turn. There was nothing going on. Do you really think that they have the answer in hand?
And I got to call back all the way to where Jeremy made the decision to just answer those Remorates. It's disrupted Alex's ability to put on true pressure and has bought Jeremy a lot of time. It's just a matter of, is it going to be enough?
There is a question of how much damage you want to do to this Pokemon. Potentially you could get it to a number that you feel comfortable with. Cresselia Super Rod plays.
Mm-hmm. And if Jeremy extends too far, Alex Krekeler does still have one copy of Cheryl lurking. And even without Octillery, just the draws return, the professor's researches have been pretty well spaced out.
Yeah, I do like this here. The Super Rod for the Cresselia can bring this Pokemon back into the deck. I believe there's a way to search that out in the hand. A few of those search items were there, but not anymore, I guess.
Yeah, use the Fog Crystal to find that last Psychic Energy.
Well, Iono is, I guess, almost guarantees finding it at this stage. There's 3 cards in there, right? So 2, and then maybe one of them was a level ball. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
As long as it's not Boss. We know Boss is on top.
Yeah, Boss is on top now. Very true. Gets the Cresselia instead. So there's the attached Psychic Embrace coming through. And it's amazing as well, because Moonglow Reverse, moving these damage counters off of the bench Pokemon makes it harder for Alex Krekeler to go for any kind of Yoga Loop stuff or G-Max Rapid Flow to get those KOs. Power of Water is now being played by Alex Krekeler into an Iono. Going to just put that hand back and draw 3 more. I see the Cheryl.
Oh, not the right hand.
Mm-mm.
Maybe with a energy retrieval and a rapid strike energy, you could piece together some answer,
Yeah,
but it's not there.
Can't save this Inteleon VMAX. It's the boss's orders was coming to take down the rapid strike Urshifu VMAX. So, Jeremy Castro takes game 1. That was a pretty even game, however.
I wonder if Alex knows the 3rd boss is in the deck. It honestly could be a toss-up. Jeremy could have been searching for a few different things there. Obviously, if you find the boss's orders, you're going to win there, but maybe he thinks it's a pal pad or something different. You get the counts confusing, and you don't expect that 3rd one. It's not always going to be the play to have 3 boss's orders in the deck, and it helps out in a matchup like this.
And the fact that they lined up early to take out those Remorates is huge, and it's a big part of what really ices players off of Rapid Strike, where if you don't have that Octillery, it does become very awkward to get the deck to do what it wants to do.
Well, in game 2, we certainly have some things to look forward to, as Jeremy does play more Ralts this game, most likely. Has the potential to find a true setup and get those Curlias in play. Or do you continue to go with this aggressive route? We saw how beneficial it was to target down the Remoraid, remove that from play, avoid Octillery, and put your opponent in some awkward spots where, sure enough, Alex passed the turn 2 or 3 times that game.
Jeremy it seemed forced to go for that aggressive line, but maybe he's got a taste for blood now.
That's not good. That's a Manaphy in the prize cards.
Manaphy in the prize cards is huge for Alex Krekeler here in the second game. Bring this to a game number 3. That bench damage, the G-Max Rapid Flow, is going to be on the table the entire game. Jeremy Castro has to take an early prize to try to fish that out. Double checking, no heavy ball.
What a weird hand here for Jeremy. He's got potential for Candy, Gardevoir, all sorts of shenanigans, but it doesn't work right here. You need basic Pokemon to start the game, so can use the Ultra Ball to search out maybe another Ralts or maybe a Mew. I think there was access to an energy or at least a Fog Crystal to get the retreat.
Yeah, and using Ultra Ball to get rid of a boss's orders and another Ultra Ball is very important because every single boss's orders was part of Jeremy's strategy in game number 1 to take that win.
And then to top it all off, the supporter of the turn would be Iono when your opponent just went Energy Pass. A lot of decisions to be made here on the big stage.
If you can bench one Pokemon, I think that I would let it rock. I would let my opponent just have their potentially bricked hand, try to save that Iono. Mew, Fog Crystal, it's looking pretty okay. Get the Psychic Energy to retreat, get something big off of Mysterious Tail.
That's the key. If we see VIP pass, or at least level ball or fog crystal, maybe that changes things. If Jeremy has access to 2 Ralts, that means that you will probably find that Mirage Step Curlia on the following turn. Then that'd be a solid turn to play the Iono. If you miss right here, you don't feel comfortable with 1 Ralts. That's bad.
Big Mysterious Tail then. What's that golden card again?
It's a Lost Vacuum and a Super Rod. We need help.
Takes the Super Rod, right? Okay, so
You just
now
take whichever one's worse so you can put it on the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, put the Super Rod on the bottom because you'll just need that later. Lost Vacuum would be great to maybe deal with the Forest Seal Stone down the road. But there's Iono.
Oh!
Wow! Actually saying you saved me from the precipice of doom by putting these down on the bottom. It'll be difficult to get those later, but new hand, new future.
Hold up. The hand's too good. He drew all the Pokemon and the VIP and the level ball.
Iono giveth and taketh away. Now Jeremy Castro is fully established. Battle VIP pass now as well to complete this setup. The only missing piece indeed is Manaphy. And Alex Krekeler sees, even though my opponent's got a lot of Pokemon in play, with no Manaphy, I still have a line to victory.
Yeah, I'd like to see Jeremy slow down a little bit there. You don't need to bench all those Ralts immediately. You can just play the Battle VIP pass. Maybe you see another Ralts, and then you can have that in hand if your opponent takes a knockout on the Mew this turn.
But it's just enjoying life. Gets that last-minute concealed cards in and passes the turn. Back over to Alex Krekeler. Has Remoraid and Octillery. Would love to see a second Remoraid. I think that might be the strategy, Kyle. Try to get 2 of those down. The same way you play 2 Charmander or 2 Pidgey, right?
Yep. You got to pick and choose. Right now, it's all about the fish. There's no supporter in hand here, and you need a lot more help. Oh, I guess there is the Forest Seal Stone.
Yeah, just double checking, seeing, can I thin this hand down? Do I want to grab research? What am I willing to discard? And what's nice about the Ultra Ball is we can shuffle the deck, get those Inteleon VMAXs back into the fold. Lumineon for research.
Yep. You can bench the Remoraid, play the Forest Seal Stone, then use this research. You're going to lose the Octillery, but of course if you've done your counts, you know that you have 1 left, and you're likely going to lose 1 Remoraid just with the way that you've seen Jeremy play this matchup. He does not like letting the little fish hang around.
Yeah, already has the Cresselia ready to go. Forest Seal Stone on Inteleon V, benches Metacham and Remoraid into research.
Be aggressive. Ultra Ball in hand, plenty of resources, energy to go along with it, so expect to see some knockouts here.
Picks up Inteleon VMAX as well. Great to keep the pressure going. At this early stage of the game, Gardevoir, cosplays as a single prize deck. And then you try to take as many prizes as you can off of the Mew, off of the Cresselias, and then later in the game, hopefully get into a position where you can take out the Gardevoir EX or Zacian V to take 2 prizes to close out.
Well, a quick knockout there for Alex in turn number 2. This board looks a lot better than it did in turn 1, and that leaves Jeremy to find some answers. And without a Manaphy, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit, Skarzig. You can search out all these Curlias. You can use Refinement and draw all the cards in the land. Maybe even find Rare Candy Gardevoir and attack with the Curlia to knock out the Remoraid. But if you see a Melanie, you could lose the game.
Especially after this Iono, this is going to give Alex Krekeler even more cards to work with. Has to find that other Octillery as well to tie this full board state together. Concealed cards for Jeremy Castro to draw 2 more. Has Collapsed Stadium.
Ooh.
But then you're just giving Alex a chance to kick that Lumineon. Refines a Ralts to draw 2 more. Gardevoir EX is found.
Yep, there are multiple Rare Candy in the hand, so that is the right card to find.
Beautiful.
Get both of these evolutions down, protected against the Urshifu VMAX that potentially would have come down and take some knockouts. Let's see some more cards.
Yeah, who needs Manaphy? Just play Pokemon with more HP. And there is this full setup now with Psychic Embrace into Moonglow Reverse. Takes out Remoraid. Alex Krekeler benches a second one. This is the final Remoraid. Hopefully this one will stay alive.
It's trying.
Yeah, and this is what happened last time. Alex Krekeler takes out the Cresselia. Jeremy Castro can respond with just that Super Rod again, put it back in the deck, fish it back out.
Yeah, I mean, you put your opponent on the one-turn clock. Hopefully, you can withstand it. There's only one Shining Arcana, one refinement. Maybe that Pokemon will evolve into another Shining Arcana, but eventually the draws have to run out, and maybe they don't piece together the Super Rod in combination with a way to search out the Cresselia.
And after the Irida finds the second Inteleon VMAX and Energy Search, the double Gunners start to hit the scene. And preemptively placing this damage does hurt the Psychic Embrace. Into Energy Retrieval for the attack and the knockout on Cresselia with the G-Max Spiral.
Yeah, multiple energy, basic energy in hand now. So lining up for some really strong double gunner plays later. And we still have yet to see the Forest Sealstone activation. So remember that. There's an opportunity where the Melanie could come down and maybe surprise Jeremy with one of those Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX.
And Jeremy has to also focus on not getting spooked by this play. That was a really strong line, took out the Cresselia, and now you're thinking, oh, the energies are coming, the double gunner's coming. Do I want to try to take out the Medicham? Am I worried about Rapid Strike Urshifu? And I think Jeremy has to do what he did in game number 1 and just focus down that Remoraid. Try to stem the flow of all of the aggression that Alex Krekeler is able to output.
Yeah, this is piece number 1. Have the Super Rod ready to go. And access to potentially 6 more cards to draw off the top now. And you have to like that. There's plenty of ways to find this Cresselia from this stage. Then there's Level Ball, which is not going to find it, but maybe find some friends.
Yeah, just take a look through the deck. Picks up Mew. Still has Refinement, Shining Arcana. Just has to get away to find the Cresselia. Get that back in the mix.
Yeah, the pressure on the Remoraid is crucial at this stage. You want to get Alex in a position where he's not able to consistently chain together all of those resources that the Rapid Strike Search can find.
And after all that, I'm not seeing a way to get the Cresselia. Worker for 3 more?
Ooh, it was the last card. And there is a lost vacuum for the Forest Sealstone. This is quite a turn here for Jeremy, as not only is he removing the potential for a big swing turn, instead we see the damage come down to Cresselia into the active, and that's going to be a nice knockout onto the Remoraid once more.
Dug deep and was rewarded with the Cresselia once again. Alex Krekeler going to be losing out on artillery for a second game in a row. Has to rely on his pure protagonist top deck power. Let's see it come through, Kyle.
Skarsgård, that was Manaphy. That was Manaphy added into the hand off of the prize cards. Jeremy put Alex on a 1-turn clock to potentially close out a lot here. We don't see the Radiant Alakazam just yet. We're looking for a little more help. There it is off of the Ultra Ball. How much damage can you spread?
So from this position, we need, the Urshifu VMAX. We're looking for the Rapid Strike Energy, Melanie, hopefully another Forest Sealstone. It's tough, Kyle. There is always potential for this Rapid Strike deck to have explosive turns, but I can't see what else is left in the hand. Karina's Focus. Okay. So now Alex Krekeler's the one digging deep. Will he be rewarded now?
Access to an energy is very nice. Already had this basic energy in hand, but now can move 2 damage with the Radiant Alakazam to knock out the Kirlia, leave some damage on the Gardevoir, and with the Rapid Strike energy in hand now, could easily take this knockout on the Cresselia.
Oh, beautiful. Finds the second Forest Sealstone. Rapid Strike energy attached to Inteleon VMAX. Not going to try to go for the Urshifu this turn.
And damage on the Gardevoir can be so rewarding, as this leads to there not being enough energies available to potentially knock out the Inteleon VMAX.
And then takes another knockout with G-Max Spiral. Alex Krekeler down to 2 prize cards remaining and holds the Forest Sealstone. This is my artillery at home. I've got it attached. This is going to be the card that I want for next turn. And Jeremy is only running 1 Lost Vacuum.
Well, Jeremy wishes he could play Boss's Orders and Iono in the same turn. There's a lot that needs to happen right here. Certainly you could just attack into that Urshifu V with the Boss's Orders, with the Gardevoir EX. Hopefully withstand what could potentially be on the other side for Alex.
And put a marker on the Radiant Greninja as I think just shortcutting, going to discard the energy that's getting grabbed off this Fog Crystal to draw 2. Still has Shining Arcana available as well. And the theme of this game so far, this match so far, Kyle, I think has just been players really struggling in just drawing cards with so few ways to do so. Just barely getting what they need. Manaphy finally hitting the bench. Alex probably very happy that he didn't commit to the Urshifu. He's just going to try to stick with the double gunner strategy, with the G-Max Spiral strategy, and again, has the threat of Medicham and Radiant Alakazam.
Yeah, this is very much a game of billiards where you're just putting the ball in an awkward spot for your opponent. You're not trying to win the game. And so often, your opponent can't close out yet, and you're just finding opportunities where maybe you can buy that turn or two to open up the window for you to potentially steal a game here.
And with Gardevoir EX in the active spot, and the only way to put up an aggressive front from this position is to damage your own Pokemon, it puts Alex Krekeler in a fantastic position to grab 2 prize cards and close out the second game. Jeremy has the boss's orders, however. What's the choice here? Medicham V.
It's if Manaphy wasn't there, then you'd go after the Urshifu V. But because of that, now you feel a little more comfortable. You can target down the Medicham, hopefully avoid that Pokemon for the remainder of the game. But here we see cards flying. What's the plan? Clara is coming down, and the Medicham is right back in the mix.
Tower of Waters, there's the attachment. Comes into the active spot because of the free retreat. Another double gunner to rain that energy down. We can use Radiant Alakazam to move that damage over. And then Medicham V goes for Yoga Loop on Manaphy. Takes an additional turn back-to-back, draws one more. Double gunner keeps on raining down. Those abilities are reset for a Seal Stone to find another water energy. Double gunner, quadruple gunner.
And that is going to line things up for the perfect closeout here in game number 2. Move the damage once more in your second turn that you stole. We're going to game 3.
Very well played. You saw by the speed that Alex Krekeler had that play in the chamber, was just waiting to execute it. And that is what Rapid Strike is known for. You're about to close out the game, and then they snatch victory from you.
14 minutes left. Pretty crazy back and forth here, but Alex saw the lines from a mile away, lining up those double gunners left and right. Perfect sequencing there. Moved just 1 damage counter from that Gardevoir to the Manaphy, clean it up with the Yoga Loop. I'm going to draw an extra card because that's how this game works now, and the prizes just fly with that Forest Seal Stone.
The pieces all lined up, especially having the Tower of Waters to bring that Medicham V up. It's when everything aligns, this deck looks so amazing, but it shares the same weakness as a lot of other decks. If you don't complete your setup, if you don't have those right cards at the right moment, you're just dead in the water.
I thought you were going to say Psychic. Psychic and Lightning are really bad weaknesses right now.
And we've seen it before. We've had Rapid Strike, on stream, and it's just Inteleon V. Like, honestly, that's what happened, right? Alex Krekeler, Inteleon V in the active spot, attach energy pass, and Jeremy was forced into an Iono just to get some extra Pokemon in play, and it saves Alex Krekeler from being on a completely dead hand. If Jeremy does not get spooked at the start of this third game and gets a strong read that Alex Krekeler is once again on a really bad hand and leaves him floating, maybe he can kick back and just set up, get those routes down.
Yeah, the Mysterious Tail really was the main issue there for Jeremy. If that found a Battle VIP Pass or even a level ball,
so true.
I think the Iono is not played, and maybe that leads to a big, oh my gosh, stop it! Manaphy!
Again! Manaphy!
Home.
The Wave Veil. It's having a vacation playing at the beach,
Unreal.
Kyle. We can't interfere with that.
It is October. Come home. It is freezing.
But what's not freezing is Jeremy's Mysterious Tail finds the Battle VIP Pass, grabs 2 Pokemon to put on the bench. Looks like all the routes are present and accounted for, but no Manaphy.
There's no lifeguards left. The poor little Ralt's playing on the beach by itself.
Oh, Jeremy, you can see the look, like no Manaphy again. with Urshifu in the active spot as well. Urshifu V in the active, terrifying. And since Alex Krekeler is going second, there is the forbidden potential for discarding that water energy, immediately getting it back attached with Melanie.
Jeremy, what if, or Jeremy, see, you got me doing it now. So I was like, what if I told you it's already in hand? There's an Ultra Ball, there's an Energy Search, there's a Forest Seal Stone. All he's missing is the Rapid Strike energy to go along with it, but we could see another turn 1 knockout.
No, I get to say it now. I'm Adam.
Yeah, there you are.
We're all Jeremy.
Well, if Jeremy loses, I don't want to be Jeremy.
Jeremy Castro taking it to a valiant game 3 despite everything. Has 2 routes now set up in play with Mysterious Tail Mew in the active spot. There's a way to grab the Radiant Greninja, right?
It was prized as well.
Oh my goodness, no. I was too focused on the mana feed.
There was a lot going on in those prize cards.
Oh no, yeah, no mana feed, no Radiant Greninja. It's looking rough. Meanwhile, Alex Krekeler does have a Remoraid in the prizes, but he's been trying his darndest without the Octillery. So here comes Energy Search. Gets a chance to look through the deck now and see what's what.
Yep. I mean, either way, Energy Search for the energy makes a lot of sense. You could always Ultra Ball that card away, make some of these decisions that much more easier.
Yeah, it's good thinning, and great deck check, great deck search here.
Suppose with the Ultra Ball, you
break
could
this hand down for me, Kyle. You were saying that this was gas. There's the Ultra Ball.
So you could choose to get the turn 1 knockout if you want. It's not exactly the best, but you could use the Ultra Ball, search out the Luminion, go find the Melanie, you discard the water energy, then you get the energy attachment. You can use the Forest Seal Stone to find the Rapid Strike energy, and you take a knockout. Is that great against a field of 3 Ralts? Probably not. So this makes a little more sense.
Yeah, and Alex Krekeler previously did make that choice to just retreat the Urshifu V and have it as a potential threat on the bench to keep Jeremy pressured into taking a more aggressive stance.
Had the escape rope in hand and chose not to play it. Instead, feels comfortable with the Urshifu V in the active position, and it is going to be Sealstone for Battle VIP Pass.
Just completing the setup. I think that Alex Krekeler's just seen that the multiple Inteleon V, all that double gunner energy coming through is one of the best lines currently, and he's just going to continue to focus on that. Every single game so far, Alex Krekeler has put that Remoraid down and forced Jeremy Castro to respond to it.
Well, you've seen that this Remoraid is often knocked out. Does that mean Ultra Ball for another Remoraid, or are we taking the risk? We're getting risky.
Yeah, that's all it is. You said that Alex Krekeler can, maybe start taking some early prizes, trying to get the other Remoraid, but he's just completely gone cold turkey. He ripped off the Band-Aid. He doesn't need Octillery anymore.
Well, good news. Jeremy's hand stinks.
There's the desperate Iono once more to find an answer, to find an out. Need some Curlias right now, Kyle.
Oh, no. Needs a bailout combination with the Mysterious Tail.
Fog Crystal, I think I see there.
That's not going to do it. There's no way to search out a Curlia or find any evolution.
And so it's just Mew Mysterious Tail trying to hold the fort once more. And now that Jeremy Castro's a little bit behind, like in terms of tempo, the Cresselia is a little bit more awkward to set up, even though you want to grab that. Grabs a 4th Ralts instead.
Wow. This could get ugly quick. If Alex has a supporter to piece together multiple Inteleon V Max, we could see multiple double gunners, the Radiant Alakazam once more, the Octillery to help finding some additional resources. We could see a lot of Ralts hitting the discard pile.
Is it ever worth to go for just an early Yoga Loop just because you can?
Sometimes.
Or do you always save it for the late game finisher?
No, sometimes it does make sense. You can buy that turn to reuse, especially if you have the energies ready to go and the energy retrieval. Then you easily can make quick use. All those double gunners. Oh, yeah. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
They're all there.
In the memory skip, Urshifu forgot how to use 100 Furious Blows for just a quick moment. Radiant Alakazam Medicham V, energy attach into Iono. Absolutely beautiful. Jeremy likes to see this, of course, because there was nothing going on in that hand, but Alex Krekeler, depending on what these 6 cards are, could just irreparably put himself ahead. Octillery's found. The first time we've seen it in this best of 3, Kyle. Octillery's finally showing up.
This is so dangerous. There's an Inteleon VMAX. Octillery is ready to roll. There is an energy, and there is an energy retrieval. We're going to see Double Gunner working its magic, and there's a lot of prize cards to be had.
Rapid Strike Urshifu, one of the most disgusting decks when all the pieces align. And now with Tower of Waters, this Urshifu V can go down to the bench. There's the first Double Gunner. Setting up against all of these little basic Pokemon on Jeremy's bench.
Yeah,
Medicham V just stalking on the sidelines, waiting for the right target.
I love this here. Understands you don't necessarily need to take the knockout right now on the Ralts. Instead, brings the water energy back into the hand, is going to get the most use out of that energy and use the energy retrieval for 2 basic waters now to get even more Double Gunners.
Rapid Strike Energy is so useful because it covers 2 energies with no downside, the way, DTE is so awkward to find. And now that Octillery is established, Alex Krekeler is going to be able to consistently every turn find that one card that has the most devastating impact. Jeremy Castro picks up Curlia from the level ball and is going to try to piece together a defense against this double VMAX onslaught.
Yeah, what would you even consider a good turn at this stage? You're continuing to use these Curlias and try to draw out of this mess, but if you find Rare Candy Gardevoir, are you going to use it for the Shining Arcana and throw down a reversal energy just to get damage onto this Pokemon? It all seems like it's a lost cause when you're not finding the right pieces.
And because Manaphy's in the prizes, Jeremy, the best that he can hope for is Rare Candy Gardevoir, bring up that Medicham V, try to get that out of the equation, but then, your Routes and Curliers are still going to be getting sniped.
Ultra Ball found, but you have to go for the EX at this point. You have no way to maneuver the Mew unless you were going to get lucky and find energy off of Shining Arcana.
There's only 4 energies available. Still should be enough to take down the Medicham V, but is there a boss? No, has to go for Worker. Gets rid of Tower of Waters to draw 3 more. Shining Arcana gives more dig.
There's Fog Crystal. We've already seen the Mew, and just signifying that. Fog Crystal could search out Cresselia, and we could spread these energies around, put some chip damage onto the Inteleon.
Collapse Stadium. You really like everything that's in play right now, but Urshifu V is probably an easy kick. That way you have the rest of your engine ready to go. The Urshifu V at this point is just the Manaphy check for the deck, and then the rest of the list is just for setting up Yoga Loops.
Exactly. If you have a Melanie in hand, you keep that card. If you don't, throw it away.
And so there's the Gardevoir EX, just puts a little bit of a chunk of damage on the Inteleon VMAX. Here comes Irida, though.
Alex is flying right now, and rightfully so. Almost under 3 minutes remaining with 5 prize cards left to be had. There are some interesting situations in +3 turns with this Medicham that we've seen from time to time. See if it comes to that. It is going to be the Echoing Horn along with the Luminion found here. And searching out. Hey, Ralts. What's going on, buddy?
And so now with Octillery finds the Tower of Waters, wants to get rid of the Collapse Stadium to get another Pokemon bench. Instead, opts for the Rapid Strike Energy, makes a little bit more sense here. You can keep your pressure up and running when you have this important energy, keep your attacks flowing. So it seems that Jeremy Castro is just barely hanging on, but this is going to be such a terrifying turn.
Yep.
There's the Tower of Waters anyway. Had one. Energy retrieval, you already talked about this, Kyle, grabbing those energies back right away to set up for the double gunners. Medicham V just needs to get the energy attached to it and come into the active spot, just like we saw at the end of Game 2.
Yep, Wombo combos lining up here as the Medicham can target down this Mew right now, take the knockout, and lead to an additional turn. And I think you only need some energies to get the job done here. Uh-oh, there's one.
Double gunner. Clara brings it back. And then it finds the Urshifu as well. There's 2 more water energies in the hand. There's double gunner number 2, and that's 2 more prize cards. The Curlias go down, and that's a massive multi-prize back-to-back turn setup. But Alex Krekeler is not done. Attaches to the Inteleon VMAX, can retreat into it because of Tower of Waters. Now has GMAX Spiral to lay down the pain on Gardevoir EX, and it's back over to Jeremy Castro with 1 Gardevoir EX in the active and no reinforcements on the bench.
It's going to look for an answer here with the Fog Crystal. Is there even a target left at this point? Looks like it's just the Cresselia or a Spiritomb. Neither of these is going to get the job done against 320 hit points, though. What a, I guess we call that a turn?
A turn.
From Alex Krekeler.
It's a 2-pound turn in a 1-pound bag. Collapse Stadium once again, just to get rid of that Tower of Waters, to kind of mess up Alex's ability to get the right Pokemon in the active spot. But here comes Cresselia trying to get rid of some of the damage from the double gunner, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, you're just putting a pittance of damage on the second VMAX. Jeremy Castro does not have enough time to take 2 3-prize knockouts from this position. The Curlias got cleaned up, and Alex Krekeler is just biding his time, just waiting to take this final game. Just has to knock out the Gardevoir EX that's on the bench.
Yep, Jeremy has
Rapid Strike Escape Rope.
He's bought a little bit of time. The escape rope was lost on the opening turn.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. He is only on 1 rope.
So access to this Gardevoir is lost, which is a good news there. But we do see the Echoing Horn. So targeting down these
Throws the
Pokemon.
Mew back down. Give me that target. That's a Yoga Loop if I've ever seen one. Here's the energy retrieval once again. And you can see it's night and day the way this deck can harass you into oblivion when the artillery is there to fill in these missing pieces so easily.
Yep. Got worried for a second. Did not see the Tower of Waters lined up, but there is the energy to retreat. And Metacham is going to take the knockout on that Mew. 1 more remaining. Time is called.
Alex just
but it does not matter.
Yeah, just making sure that the judges were keeping up with this plays. Retreats into Inteleon VMAX to get the final prize card. Outstanding show for Rapid Strike, Urshifu, and Inteleon VMAX.
Is it just combo day today?
Oh, yeah.
We got to see some pretty wild stuff there. Alex taking a ton of extra turns throughout this series to close out after being down early in the set and looking pretty difficult. Got to thank the prize cards on the other side there for Jeremy, though. Really unfortunate to see the Manaphy prize twice in a row, along with the double Ralts on the opening game. Worked through a lot of adversity, but just not enough for the Inteleon VMAX on the other side.
Absolutely took the right line as well, recognizing how potent and how important the Remoraid is to the strategy, getting that artillery down. But sometimes your prize cards just don't cooperate. The Gardevoir EX. I do definitely want to call out the fact that Jeremy was very consistently able to match Alex Krekeler's tempo. You know, tit for tat, aggression was definitely the theme of this set, Kyle. Gardevoir has been a deck that wants to sit back, draw tons of cards, but this one was Gardevoir EX turn 2, Cresselia turn 2, actually coming out of the gate swinging.
Yeah, Jeremy had a good idea going into this set. Just play the Cresselia, use it as often as possible. You can negate some of those double gunners, and if you play down your Manaphy at the right time, use that Collapse Stadium at the right time as well, you just negate enough damage to where if you've knocked out the Remoraid or Artillery already, you don't have to worry about these combo turns. And they weren't there in Game 1. They certainly were there in Game 2 and 3.
That was a lot of opponent cooperation for Alex Krekeler for certain. Having like a couple important Ionos that Jeremy was somewhat forced into playing really saved Alex Krekeler from some brick hands in the early game, and just some help from the prize cards as well. But when it comes to navigating these, you know, mid-late game combos with the Yoga Loop, with all of the double gunners, knowing your math, knowing what targets to focus down, and even running the Echoing Horn, which again is a card that not as many Rapid Strike players are actually focusing on in the current metagame. It really pays dividends here for the final turn of game number 3, the final 2 turns.
Yeah.
To bring that Mew back and bring it up as a Yoga Loop target once more.
Yep, lined up so smooth there. Just, it's a huge math sequence that you need to calculate to make sure that everything lines up. But ultimately, when you have cards like the Echoing Horn, when you have those energy retrievals, you can make it work pretty easily. And Alex, I mean, he put on a perfect showing of how this deck works when it finds a matchup that it does fairly well against, and that's a lot of the field. You can take advantage of a lot of these Pokemon before they evolve, and sometimes you can target the weakness of some of these other big hitters in the deck in the field, like the Miraidons.
Yeah, you have to be mindful as well of not just tunnel visioning into one line, being willing to play your deck without the artillery, not giving up 3 prizes so easily. Just, again, buys a lot of time for you to get to those combo turns and really close out the games that you need to. And as we move forward throughout today, we'll have to see, are these good matchups going to start getting evaporated by so many different decks in the field that want to counter, like Snorlax Block was a deck that was 4-0 because it was hitting the matchups it wanted, and then just gets completely cleaned up by Lost Zone. And we'll have to